I didn't think much of it at first, just a stupid dare from my friends that I couldn't back down from. The hospital had been abandoned for years, left to rot and gather rumors like dust. They said it was haunted, of course, but I'd seen enough horror movies to know better. It was a gray November afternoon when I parked my car in the cracked lot, the wind rattling dead leaves across the asphalt. The front doors were boarded up, but there was a side entrance, half collapsed, exposing a gaping maw of darkness. I pulled my hoodie tighter and shoved my flashlight into my pocket. It's just an empty building, I muttered to myself, though my stomach churned the moment I stepped inside. The smell hit me first, stale antiseptic, mold, and something fouler like decayed flesh. The floorboards groaned under my sneakers as I moved past the reception desk, the paint peeling in long strips from the walls. I wandered the corridors, running my fingers along the grimy walls, and noticed the silence. Not the quiet of an abandoned building, but a heavy, almost listening quiet. My flashlight flickered once, and I cursed under my breath. The hospital felt alive in the worst way, each creak of metal or distant drip of water echoing like a scream. I found the elevators and tried pressing the button, but nothing worked. I laughed, trying to mask my growing unease. Then I heard it, the faintest whisper, a dry rasp that made the hairs on my neck spike. "Hello," I called, trying to sound casual. Nothing. I chalked it up to the wind, but the sound grew clearer, more insistent, almost like voices moving just out of the beam of my light. I moved deeper into the building, my flashlight bouncing across torn curtains and abandoned wheelchairs. Every corner looked the same, a maze of decay. Then I saw it, a shadow darting at the edge of my light, vanishing when I swung the beam back. My heart started pounding. Okay, that's weird, I muttered, though I kept going. The whispers started again, now like murmurs right behind me, though I turned around and no one was there. They grew louder, overlapping, incoherent, almost chanting. I tried to rationalize, telling myself it was the wind in the vents or my imagination, but deep down, I knew that wasn't it. I reached the old ICU, the glass door shattered and hanging by a single hinge. The room was cold, unnaturally so, and I could see my breath even though I was wearing my hoodie. There were beds, rusted frames lined up like skeletons waiting, and sheets tattered and yellowed. On one bed, I saw a handprint smeared in dust, as if someone, or something, had gripped the mattress and vanished. My flashlight flickered again, and when it came back, a figure stood at the far end of the room, just inside the shadows. I froze. It didn't move, didn't breathe, just stared. My voice caught in my throat. I whispered, "Who's there?" The figure tilted its head, a slow, deliberate movement that made my stomach drop. Then it stepped forward, and the whispers surged like a wave, filling my ears, drowning out reason. I ran. The halls twisted around me. Unfamiliar though I had just walked them. Doors I hadn't seen before were suddenly there, leading to rooms that smelled worse than the rest, metallic and sharp. I heard footsteps behind me, soft but persistent, and the whispers were chasing me now, surrounding me, pressing against my skull. My flashlight dropped to the floor, spinning and casting chaotic shadows, and I stumbled into a room that looked like a morgue. Drawers lined the walls, some ajar, and inside were things I can't describe, half-decomposed bodies twisted in ways that made me gag. One drawer slammed shut behind me. I swear I heard a whisper in my ear, "Don't leave." I scrambled out of the morgue, heart hammering, lungs burning. The hospital seemed endless now, corridors folding in on themselves, stretching impossibly far. Windows revealed only darkness outside, though the sun should have been setting by now. I tried to retrace my steps to the side entrance, but the walls had changed, doors I remembered were gone. And then I saw them, dozens of shadowy figures at the end of the hall, pale faces indistinct but watching. They didn't move, didn't breathe, but I could feel their attention on me. I tried to scream, but the sound caught in my throat. My feet carried me forward despite myself, and as I ran past them, one whispered clearly, a single word that still haunts me. "Stay." I don't remember how long I ran. The hospital seemed alive, reshaping itself around me. hallways folding like paper. I stumbled into a room with a broken window and climbed through, cutting my hands on the jagged glass. Outside, the parking lot stretched into nothing, gray fog obscuring everything. My car was gone. I ran, screaming, into the mist, and when I finally collapsed in a ditch, breathless and bleeding, I swore I heard the hospital behind me, whispering, calling me back. I made it home eventually, but the whispers didn't stop. At night, I hear them beneath my floorboards, under my bed, inside my head. They say my name now, always urging, always patient. I can't sleep. I can't leave my apartment. And I know, deep down, it's not finished with me. One day, it will call, and I'll have no choice but to answer. Even now, as I write this, I hear it behind me, soft, waiting, whispering, come back. It started as a weekend camping trip, something I thought would be fun and harmless. My friends and I had heard stories about the old forest on the outskirts of town, tales of hikers who went missing, strange lights at night, and whispers that came from nowhere. I didn't believe in ghosts or anything supernatural, but something about the way my stomach churned as we parked near the tree line should have warned me. The air smelled sharp and cold, like wet soil and decay. My flashlight flickered in my hand as I stepped onto the overgrown path, branches scratching my arms, snapping underfoot. My friends joked about forest spirits, but the laughter felt hollow, like it was swallowed by the trees before it could escape. The first night was uneventful, or so we thought. We set up camp in a small clearing, the moon peeking through skeletal branches. The fire crackled, casting long, jittering shadows, and I tried to relax. But there was something in the quiet, a weight pressing down as if the woods were watching. Then I heard it, a faint rustle, like footsteps moving through the underbrush. I turned sharply, flashlight swinging, but saw nothing. My friends laughed it off, telling me it was an animal. I laughed too, but my throat was tight, my skin crawling. That's when the whisper came. Just a single syllable, barely audible. Why? I froze. The air felt colder, and the fire dimmed, though the logs were dry. My friends didn't hear it, or pretended not to, but I couldn't shake the feeling that the forest had shifted somehow, that the trees themselves leaned closer, listening. I tried to shake it off, but every rustle, every snapping twig sent my heart hammering. Later that night, I woke to something brushing against my tent. My flashlight rolled across the floor of the tent, revealing nothing, but I could feel a presence, something hovering just beyond the thin fabric. The whispers were clearer now, like voices carried on the wind, low and urgent, echoing through the trees. By morning, I thought I was imagining things. The forest looked innocent in daylight, the shadows retreating, birds singing. But as we hiked further along the trail, signs of something off appeared. Footprints, too large and irregular to be human, leading off the path into thick undergrowth. Trees bent unnaturally, their roots twisting like fingers. Every time we stopped, I thought I saw movement just beyond our vision, shapes slinking between the trunks, too quick, too fluid to identify. I began hearing voices in my head, faint at first, like fragments of speech. Come, join us, don't leave. By the second night, the forest had claimed us. Our campfire struggled to ignite, shadows stretching impossibly long across the ground. I tried to speak to my friends about the voices, but they insisted it was the wind or exhaustion. I couldn't convince myself either, not fully. The whispers had become personal, naming us one by one, soft at first, then insistent. And the shadows, God, the shadows moved in ways that shouldn't be possible. They slithered, pulled, reached. I could see figures now, human-shaped, impossibly thin, eyes glowing faintly, barely visible in the darkness. They never stepped forward, never spoke aloud, but they watched, always watched. We tried to leave the forest the next day, but the path had disappeared. The trail we had followed was gone, replaced by a tangled wall of trees and brambles. No matter which way we went, we circled back to the same clearing. Panic set in, and the whispers escalated to a cacophony. I could hear my friends calling my name, but it sounded wrong, distant, warped. The shadows shifted closer, finally bold enough to move in the pale light of our failing flashlights. I ran blindly, branches tearing at my face, roots threatening to trip me, but the forest seemed endless, stretching infinitely in every direction. The whispers followed, chanting now, a rhythm like a heartbeat. Join us, join us. I eventually collapsed near a moss-covered tree, exhausted, bleeding, terrified. That's when I noticed them. Dozens of faint, human-shaped outlines, pressed against trees, behind rocks, barely visible. They didn't speak, but the whispers came from them, overlapping, 1,000 voices merging into one terrifying command. One figure stepped forward, tall, thin, head tilted at an impossible angle. Its eyes burned amber in the darkness, and it opened its mouth silent. Yet I heard the command in my head. Stay? I ran, somewhere, anywhere, until I found a clearing that I thought led out of the woods. The sun was rising now, gray and weak, and I stumbled into the parking lot where we had left the car. Only my car wasn't there, nor my friends. The forest ended abruptly, like it had never existed, leaving only a barren lot and morning fog. I ran into town, breathless, screaming, trying to get anyone to believe me, but I was alone. My friends were gone, vanished without a trace, and no one else remembered us ever going there. Now, nights are the worst. I can hear whispers outside my window, drifting from nowhere. The trees of that forest, I know, are out there waiting for me. I sometimes wake up in the middle of the night with scratches on my arms, footprints in my yard that vanish before morning. And every time I hear a branch snap in the distance, my chest tightens because I know that the forest hasn't let me go. It will never let me go. The echoes of those voices haunt my dreams. And I know, deep down, that one day they will come for me again. Even as I type this, I can hear them, just outside, whispering my name, patient and relentless, calling me back to the forgotten woods. It started innocently enough. I just moved into a small apartment in the city. Cheap rent, a decent location, nothing fancy. The building was old, creaking in the night, with narrow hallways and peeling paint, but I didn't mind. I thought it would be quiet. I thought I would be safe. But safety is just an illusion, and I learned that quickly. The first night, I heard its soft thumps, the kind that sound like someone walking around in the apartment above mine. I assumed it was normal. Old buildings make noise, right? But the thumps were regular, deliberate. They paced across the floor in a rhythm that felt almost like a heartbeat. I listened for a while, trying to rationalize, until the footsteps stopped. Then I heard something else, a scratching, like nails dragged across the wooden floor. I told myself I was imagining it. I had to. A week passed, and the noises grew bolder. They weren't just at night anymore. I'd be sitting at my desk, typing, and the scratching would start again, right above me, echoing through the ceiling. Sometimes I'd hear a muffled voice, too faint to make out, just a hiss or whisper that made my skin crawl. I tried asking my neighbor above, but no one ever answered. I even knocked on their door once. The building was eerily silent. I didn't see lights. I didn't hear TV. Nothing. It was like the apartment above me was empty, or worse, not entirely human. One night, around 2 a.m., the sounds escalated. Thumping, scratching, now accompanied by a low growl that vibrated through the floorboards. I grabbed my phone and tried to record it, hoping to prove I wasn't losing my mind. The moment I hit record, everything stopped. Silence, deafening. I laughed nervously, telling myself I'd been spooked by nothing. But then my phone buzzed, a text message from a number I didn't recognize. I see you. I froze. The light from the screen flickered across the room, and I swore I saw a shadow in the corner of my apartment, though no one was there. I dropped the phone, it clattered across the floor, and I scrambled to pick it up, heart hammering. Another message. Why are you hiding? I didn't sleep that night. I stayed in the corner of my apartment, blanket over my shoulders, staring at the ceiling. At some point, I thought I heard someone whisper my name from above. My blood ran cold. I wanted to move, leave, escape, but I couldn't. Something about the building held me there, invisible chains tightening with every breath. The days blended into nights. The scratching, the thumping, the whispers, it never stopped. I started seeing things, fleeting movements out of the corner of my eye, shadows that darted across walls, shapes just behind closed doors. The air felt heavier, as though someone, or something, was sharing my apartment with me. I could feel it watching, waiting, studying. I tried to bring friends over, but they always canceled last minute, or claimed they felt uneasy in the building. Everyone avoided it. Everyone except me. Then came in noises from inside my own walls. Not from above, but inside. Soft at first, like someone breathing behind the plaster, then louder, nails scraping through the drywall. One night, I heard the floorboards creak in my own bedroom, directly beneath my bed. I froze. The air smelled different then, acrid, metallic. I dared to shine my flashlight under the bed. Nothing, just darkness. But I heard it, right next to my ear, a hiss of breath, a whisper I will never forget. I'm here. I stopped sleeping in my bed. I slept in the living room, on the floor, surrounded by furniture as if walls could keep something away. But no matter where I went, the noises followed. One night, my phone rang, though it was dead. I picked it up, trembling, and the screen flashed with a live video feed of my apartment, from above, from the ceiling, showing me awake, terrified, alone. Then the feed zoomed in on the corner behind me, and I saw it. A tall, faceless figure, black as smoke, stretching toward me, its limbs impossibly long, hands curling like claws. I dropped the phone and ran to the door, but it slammed shut before I could reach it. I tried leaving the building the next day, dragging my things into my car, but the exit seemed wrong. Hallways shifted, doors led to empty walls, stairwells twisted like a labyrinth. I could hear it moving above, laughing, whispering, mocking me. I screamed until my voice cracked, pounding on walls, doors, windows. Nothing worked. The building had changed. It wasn't the same place I had moved into. It was alive, and it wanted me. Weeks have passed since then. I'm still trapped in the apartment. The noise is constant, growing louder, more insistent. Sometimes I see the shadow in my peripheral vision, following me, stretching its arms through walls. I've tried reaching out for help, but no one can see the building from the street. It's as if it exists in a parallel layer of reality, only accessible to me. I don't know how much longer I can hold on. I hear it whispering my name now, right behind me, soft, patient, promising release if I obey. I know that if I turn around, it will be there, waiting, and I don't know if I want it to be gone, or if the moment I answer, it's too late. Because I've realized something terrifying. The building isn't just above me. It's inside me, in my mind, in my blood, in my shadows. And the tenant upstairs? It's not just above. It's me.